Hello and welcome to the Destiny Community Podcast. It is number 64. I did, in fact, look at the number so I'd remember that instead of screwing it up like a certain someone. Holtz, in fact, can't make it tonight, unfortunately. He's fell ill, unfortunately.
Press
F in chat.
He's playing Magic, isn't he?
He's definitely playing Magic. 100% he's playing Magic.
100%. He had a game tonight and he just couldn't back out.
Yep. Which is really unfortunate because we have a very awesome podcast this week. We've got the voice actor of Gall, Neil Kaplan. Say hello. Or you could say
to our listening audience, he's smiling and waving.
Oh wait, there's a listening audience.
Yes.
Wow, I've got to do multi-leveled humor for this
Yes.
crowd.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
You know, there's only going to be like 1,000 or so people watching us live, and there's going to be 80,000 that listen to you. So, you know,
that's all.
Play to your largest audience.
Just a
Probably the
smidgen.
largest audience ever.
Think of it as a small fraction of the people that play the game. You know, just a small fraction.
Just a
Good point.
yeah,
Just a tiny one.
yeah.
Good point. Or about the size of the crew that worked on it.
So we are.
Just saying.
I got to tell you, like, I am through this cold steel demeanor. There is a giddy nerd that is interviewing you right now, and I must have
Wait, who's got the
just
cold
been
steel
sweating.
demeanor?
Me.
I thought you were
Gall.
calling Neil a
I thought you were
nerd.
talking about Gall,
Like-
actually.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought.
thought you were like Gall's like this
like, yeah.
cool dude, and Neil's like this nerdy giddy guy.
Guys,
I
we
thought
just
it was
found
like-
out Pope thinks of himself like Gall. This is amazing.
Yes, I connected with Gall in a personal way, and I just wanted to share with you. So I wanted to go way back because I've always been fascinated about like how voice actors get their start in an industry like that and how they build a career off of it.
I'm still trying to figure out the building a career thing. So don't ask
Don't
me.
be that. I mean, don't make me pull up your Wikipedia page. I mean, you've got a absolute crap ton of work you've done. I mean,
I'm just a gun for hire. You know, I still 30 plus years into this, and I still have yet to pull down a regular gig. You know.
do you think that like you kind of labeled yourself like a gun for hire? Do you think that that kind of came from the diversity of roles you learned how to play in the Mouse and the Monster and Mouse and the Monster?
No, actually, you know, my job on the Mouse and the Monster was the utility guy. It was basically I got hired to play Sappy the birthday clown, which hi Buster. The amazing thing about Sappy is I still remember the audition piece, and I mean I talk about how voiceover wise you just don't really remember many things because you go in and you read it off of a piece of paper on a music stand and it barely catches your brain cells. But the audition monologue for Sappy, and this was 1996, I believe it was children, that's what they want you to believe with their happy little faces and their smiling little laughs. But deep down, they're whining selfishness, secret plans for world domination. They're monsters, I tell ya. Monsters! I think it was something like that. But that show was so much fun. And you can find it on YouTube, and it's worth a look. But I grew up in the 70s, and I kind of always thought that was going to be my job, was to do whatever's needed. So It's like, you know, when I was in musical theater, most of the time when I was playing a lead role, it was only because, oh crap, if we don't make him a lead, that means he's got to dance. And
Now,
that's the never a smart thing.
Did you start in high school or in college with, you said musical theater? Did you also do like sketch comedy or comedy work then? Or how did you get into that?
I started out actually doing talent shows and sketch comedy in elementary school. You know, I mean, we didn't have any money to pay for actual scripts, so you wrote the sketches, you'd write the play. Mm-hmm. Or whatever. So I was actually technically doing that before I was doing plays. So I started off doing impressions and doing, 8-year-old versions of stand-up comedy, and I did stand-up. I think like from age 8 to about 18. Like round about the time I started actually going to rooms that had hecklers, and I went. And I froze up and went, this isn't fun. Trolls. And about that same time, I went out and studied musical theater in New York and met a guy who had a radio show, and I started doing celebrity drop-ins. And it's like the first time I got in and worked on mic, and it's like, oh, nobody heckles you here. And you get a second take. So you can try to get the joke right. Oh, this is fun. And you can hear yourself and, kind of sit there and, this schlubby, nerdy guy could like suddenly sit there and get a microphone and do something nice and deep. And, and it's kind of, oh, okay, so use the equipment too. And, it was suddenly I got, for lack of a better term, I got birthed into this world where if you can play it, you can play it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I mean, the greatest thing about voiceover is Phil Lamar can play the Green Lantern. He can play Jon Stewart, or he can play, he can play Hal Jordan. I mean, it's like because he's that talented of an actor, right? And it doesn't matter that I'm this 5'11", schlumpy guy. I can go ahead and play gigantic Gaul or Skadge or Tychus Finley. Am I allowed to mention other guys from other universes?
Of course,
you are absolutely,
absolutely.
The more, the
better. Okay, all right. It's like, I'm not allowed to say Tychus Finley.
This is this podcast is our podcast. This isn't sanctioned.
We
by
do whatever.
Else. Yeah.
So that to me is the brilliant thing about voiceover is James Earl Jones can still play Darth Vader. Sure. Frank Welker can still play Freddy in Scooby-Doo, even though if he had played Freddy on camera in 1969, there's no way he'd be able to play him now, man. I know that's Shaggy, but it's the best I can do. I don't do a Freddy.
So I noticed.
Sorry.
I noticed on your Twitter account, you often get involved in politics, and it's a very interesting Twitter account to follow. And I'm not going to ask you about politics, but I am going to be asking you about. I noticed one of your first impressions that you done is Ronald Reagan, and you also did Richard Nixon. I'm curious if you have attempted to do any more recent presidents, and if you've ever had Ronald Reagan have a conversation with, let's say, Donald Trump in your mind, and
not really. See, what happened was I started off doing impressions. And I was the 8-year-old, 9-year-old kid who do Jimmy Stewart, that sort of thing. Oh, Jimmy Carter, whatever, very popular things in the 1970s. And then I did a show for my children's musical theater, and the guest for the night was a gentleman by the name of Mel Blanc. And I got a couple of private minutes with him, and I spoke to him. And I had previously met Rich Little. I had met Fred Travalena. I thought, wow, I want to be an impressionist. This is great. And then I met Mel Blanc, and Mel Blanc said, "Kid, impressions are for hacks." original characters. That's what you want to do. And when God speaks to you,
You listen.
you listen.
Yes.
And I swear to you, from that moment on, I pretty much, unless it's an impression that's pretty blatantly obvious, or I fall into it,
Sure.
or it's something that I'm just sort of blessed with, shall we say?
God, love go.
then there's nothing. I can't do it with my eyes open. Sorry.
No, you can't.
But
That's
I
from
don't
your
do- I
show,
don't-
Street
I don't-
Smarts, right? You used to do Gilbert Gottfried on Street Smarts.
Well, I did. I was only on Street Smarts once.
Right, but you did Gilbert Gottfried on Street Smarts. It was like
Yes.
I was watching the clip online, and it was great. I mean,
I wish I could find that whole episode, because there was a great gameplay moment where the gal didn't know the nerd she was dealing with, and the game kind of turned when she challenged me on a question that was about what planet Spock was from.
Yeah.
And I just kind of went, really, hun? Okay. And yeah. And that was one of my two major game show appearances, and my other one was.
Oh God, I can't. It just jumped out of my head. Oh my God, I did it.
It was
Go to your notepad, Paul.
Yeah.
Notepad.
Bingo America with Patrick Duffy. That was the key about that. Buster, come on, man. Cut me some slack, brother. Wow. He just, he likes correcting me on stories. What can I tell you? Anywho, but and that, of course, was after I had the chance to spend a couple of weeks with Larry Hagman in Australia at a convention. So that's my Dallas connection.
So you're I wanted to ask you, like, we found a little bit about your background, but maybe tell our audience who are some of the characters that you've voiced, or your favorite characters that you've voiced over the years, besides obviously your favorite Dominus Gall, right?
Of course.
Sure.
By the way, if because I can't tell how loud Buster is, if it gets to be a problem, let me know and I'll move into the other room. Okay. Anywho, so at one point in time, I used to introduce myself as Neil Kaplan. I'm probably best known around the world as the voice of Optimus Prime on a show called Transformers: Robots in Disguise. So there was that. And before that, I panicked people when I got cast as Optimus Prime, because they knew me from a show called Digimon, where I played a little hawk called Hawkmon. And so they were terrified they were going to get Autobots transformed. But that was not the case.
No.
Let's see. The Mouse and the Monster, I did a bunch of different things. Nothing that anybody would recognize. Let's see.
No.
I've been Venom. I've been Sabretooth. I've been Gorilla Grodd. I'm on a little show on Netflix right now called
Yes, you are.
Voltron.
You are.
And I'm the big bad guy. I am Emperor Zarkon.
Yes.
Set a course for Voltron.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Let's see. I was on an episode of Higglytown Heroes, so I invaded your childhoods. Then I was Funshine Bear from the Care Bears. That was just a toy, though, so you could buy it and take it home. I want another Care Bear hug. So that's really fun when you kind of, switch it up a little bit. I want another Care Bear hug.
That's
Mix it up a little bit. Yeah, a whole lot of folks know me from playing Takis J. Finley, so they're accustomed to hearing me say, "Hell, it's about time." So I had a kid meet me at at a convention in Toronto once, and he looked at my banner and he looked at me and I said, "Hey, how are you?" Because I like pitching my voice up when I think people are like freaking out on the Gaul or any one of my deep throated guys, and they kind of look at me like, "Wait, but," then I'll like, if they're in a group, it's best because then I'll have somebody take the camera and I'll go up and I'll lean into the person's ear. I'll turn around and I'll say to the person with the camera, "You'll know when to take the picture."
Yeah.
And I'll lean into their ear and I'll say, like, "I made a deal with the devil, Jimmy. She dies, I go free." Then they like go, "Holy crap." Which is fun because, for a while there, I was like, "Autobots, transform and roll out." And people go, "Oh, that's nice. That's lovely. That's cute. That's adorable." It's like, I was a transforming truck there, peep. You guys don't even care. And then, hell, it's about, oh. And so it's a lot more fun to get the visceral reaction,
Well, you've
awesome.
played these when you jumped into and you started voice acting in video games. It's something that were you prepared for the reaction of people that spent hundreds of hours playing these games and hearing your voice over and over again?
No, I'm still not. As a matter of fact, that's what I was just about to say, was this guy literally started shaking. He was Korean, and he says, you don't understand. I was in Korea when they debuted that trailer. And I did the voice for him, and and one time I did, I work on a little anime called Naruto, as I like to call it, not Naruto, because that's the right way to say it. And I'm some dweeby 50-year-old, so I say Naruto. So Naruto. And I play an evil character there, and I actually did the voice for this one gal at New York Comic Con, and her knees buckled, and she ended up on the floor. It's not the world's greatest superpower, but it doesn't suck completely.
Have you found yourself? You seem to do bad guys well. Is that Care Bears and bad guys? Where do you get the range for this?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like I said, when I was growing up, I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought that, at one point I was Craven the Hunter on Spider-Man 3. So I did, I did Russians. I played several different Russians. I was also let's see, Ivan the Terrible on Night at the Museum, Smithsonian edition, whatever it was. And, I played Russians. I was a Russian-esque character on Gears of War 4. And I always thought I was just supposed to be able to do lots of different dialects. And I just thought, it's like, I grew up and it's like, well, they do a Cockney dialect in My Fair Lady. So, gotta learn to do your Cockney dialect, right? Yeah, no. And then, of course, right, I was growing up in the 1980s. So, that's when the Aussie thing started to hit. So it's like a whole lot of, it's not a knife. This is a knife. So it's like you start hearing stuff like that. And I found I was never very good at picking up from the actual person or from the actual people. Sure. So it's like I didn't learn how to do, I didn't learn how to do Kermit the Frog by listening to Kermit the Frog. I listened to my friend Ace Miles over the course of a summer. And, kind of picked it up from him. So, so along those same lines, back in 1996, I think, I had no air conditioning, and there was this great 3-hour movie that I loved called Braveheart.
Yes.
And I knew how Mel Gibson sounded, and so when he said, like, I love you, I want to marry you, you start listening to that, and then, of course, you start picking up your little bit of Scottish dialect. So basically, I always thought that was my job, was to pick up lots of different dialects and tones and be able to do that sort of a thing. And so that's just always that's where I come from, It's just like I thought I was supposed to be able to know the difference between, sort of an Irishy dialect like you might think of for a leprechaun, but of course then you got to switch over to the Irish dialect that you get from U2, where they don't really open up their mouths, they keep their jaws nice and tight, and that sort of a thing, And it's just, I always thought, it's like, make it up really high, bring it down really fucking low. And it's like, so I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm just really glad that not a whole lot of other people can do it.
Well, there is a question of, like, you're sitting down in a room in a booth and you have the creative process. I mean, there is a character that's put in front of you, I imagine. I don't know the whole process, so maybe you can walk us through that. But on paper,
it varies. It varies. I mean, there are times. There are times when people know they want to work with you and they'll hire you and you can feel it out and put things together in the booth. Like the first day that we worked on Gall for Destiny, a lot of that stuff never made the game because we basically spent that first day fine-tuning it and locking it in and deciding kind of how much was pain and how much was anger, how much of it was rejection and how much of it was determination. How powerful is he? Does he feel the need to project? I think one of the things that you get from Gall is he has more self-doubt than some of the other powerful characters that I played, and I think that shows up in him yelling a lot, in him projecting his voice and feeling the need to be heard, as opposed to the comfort of making somebody listen to him and being quiet. Do
you find yourself having to get into the mindset of the character, like the psychology of that character to develop the voice for them?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's voiceover work is the greatest game of pretend on the planet outside of, and I never thought of this before until a really brilliant director mentioned it to me, but he basically said he started working with former MI6 agents doing voiceover work for video games, because for these people, acting meant the difference between life and death.
Sure.
And we weren't talking about something big and emoting and feeling and, gut-wrenching and doing so what some people might call the heavy lifting of acting. But they were in tune with just the basic being somebody else. Because if you were not somebody else, you were going to die.
Sure.
Wow.
So some people would say that that's the heavy lifting of acting.
Being able to embody that person or that character that
just
you're...
be it. Just be it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... and voiceover, I was doing when we got introduced as the cast of StarCraft 2 at BlizzCon, we did a panel, and at one point somebody asked, what's it like doing voiceover? And we all went down and gave our answers, and most of us were primarily voice actors. And then they got to Trisha Helfer, from Battlestar Galactica and a lot of films and TV shows and stuff. And she said, you know what? When I'm doing Battlestar, I have props, I have costumes, I have, things that help me out. I mean, sure, I look and I see the camera, I see the lights, I see the microphone, I see that I'm on set. So I got to do some pretending. But then I see the other actors that I'm speaking to, and I've got the gun in my hands,
Sure.
and I'm wearing the costume, and so it helps. And then I get in the booth and I play Sarah Kerrigan, and I've got nothing.
Yep.
And it's all about the imagination,
Well, That reminds me of something that you said a while back. You said that putting yourself in the mindset of a 5-year-old helps you to imagine the world your character lives in. Why a 5-year-old?
Not quite that, but basically what I say is voiceovers the closest thing to being 5 years old other than being 6. and the reason that I say that is because when you're 5 years old and somebody hands you a towel and a safety pin, they have to literally look you in the eyes and say, "You cannot fly. You cannot fly." And life, as we live it, especially nowadays, beats that lesson into you, where eventually you actually need to be told that you can fly. Okay? And in voiceover, that's what you do, is you fly, man. You fly. You get to sit there, and you, 50-year-old schlubby Neil Kaplan, gets to be a 6'8", 380-pound space marine from the future, or a toilet, or a bounty hunter with no class whatsoever, or anything.
Yeah.
Anything. I mean, look, years and years ago on Knights of the Old Republic, I was Darth Bandon, so I was a Darth, and I was Bendak Starkiller. Starkiller, like the original name for Luke Skywalker. So it's like, I got to do that. I didn't have to grab friends and pretend, unofficially in the park across the street from my house. I got to pretend with friends officially.
It's awesome.
And I do this, and I don't know how anybody else does it, but I will have the movie running in my head.
Sure.
And I will see it. Sometimes I'll see it third person, sometimes I'll see it first person, but I'll see the surroundings. I'll see, when I was Gorilla Grodd, I'll see Batman, and I'll want to kick Batman's ass, and I get to kick Batman's ass.
Yes, you
do. And only
do.
later on do I find out that Batman was Ron Perlman. So, by the way, interesting little Destiny story. This last year at Comic-Con, they were having a Destiny panel, and I was previously engaged meeting some Voltron fans. And as soon as my scheduled time opened up, I booked over to the room, ran over there. The room was filled, and I couldn't get in. And so I waited outside and was waiting by the wrong door, and Lance Reddick was on the panel, and I've enjoyed Lance's work for a long time. I'm a huge fan of the series The Wire. I watched Fringe from the amazing pilot through the very difficult final season.
Yes.
Anyway, so I've really liked Lance's work for a while, and I wanted to go up and say hello. So I was in the wrong position. He comes out, and the security guys that were escorting him come out, and and I'm trying to catch up, and I do my thing and kind of go, Lance, hey, I'm the voice of the bad guy on Destiny. I'm Gaul. Literally, I'm purposely pitching it up like that. And a couple of the guys from the development team, because the security guy turns around, and the security guy is literally built like Gaul.
Yes.
Just slightly less handsome. And his mouth was slightly less triangular. But anyway, so the security guard looks at me, and all of a sudden, 4 guys from the development team go, "Oh no, it is Neil! It is Neil!" And it's like they usher me into the green room, and I got to say hello to Lance. It's like, yeah, Lance, it's really nice to meet you. You've done some of my favorite work. So.
That's cool.
Is that the process of getting to the place of Gaul? You talked a little bit about that. You said that you worked with a producer to kind of fine tune that. Was that character voiced in? Did you have an acting scene, or is that in a booth by yourself reading a script? Because you seem to be really.
It was the very first thing we worked on was Gaul kicking you off a ledge.
Yeah.
And asserting himself. That was the first thing. That was basically the only thing we worked on the first day, and just kind of finding him and locking him in. And
that's a powerful scene.
Yeah.
I believe I saw some of the footage from the actor who did the physical performance. So, I mean, we put this together quite literally like Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. You know, somebody else played him physically, and I did the voice. And you know, so I watched the scene. I watched some of the animatic. I watched some of the actual performance. And you know, he laid down some great energy, you know, so that really helped. And Kevin McMullen, the director, you know, really was key in helping me lock things in, you know, that first day.
That's awesome. I think that a lot of us, and you know, the people in chat and people listening, really want to just say, you know, F you for destroying our, you know, our vaults, but you know, and all our weapons in the tower. But you know, it brought us to Destiny,
replacing it with an inferior vault.
So there's obviously. Have you ever gotten somebody at a convention or that can't make that connection between you're just the voice actor? They get angry at you for being for doing something in the game or in the anime.
The closest I've had to that was people coming up to me at a convention and telling me that I'm their second favorite Optimus Prime. Which I usually respond with, "Me too."
Me too.
Peter Cullen's my favorite too. You know.
Well, everybody in chat had a chance to throw down some Twitter questions for you. And so, are you ready?
Wait, hold on, because I want to address a little bit of that.
Sure.
You know, it's interesting because certainly I try to be really good-natured with the fact that, you know, the character is hated, and that there's a smart-ass character in the game that everybody wants to be like.
Sure.
Who rather disrespectfully threw out a nickname, and everybody thinks they're just as funny as Kate. Oh, I'm clever. I'm gonna call you Gary. I'm so original. You're not original.
That hurt your feelings, did it? It hurt.
You're
right
not
here.
Original.
Yeah.
And I have a shirt from Bungie that has all the stupid little other names crossed out. You know, something with a G, Gary, crossed out, and it says Gaul. It's Gaul. Gaul.
So, just for the record, Neil, the title of this podcast will be "The Conversation with Gary."
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Perfect.
You know, and at first it's funny and it's cute, and then it gets old, and then it gets tired. And then people sometimes don't know when to stop. It's okay. I have fun with one particular chicken online because, after all, it's a chicken.
It is.
Yes. Not very bright, not very clever, and I'm sure far tastier in person than online. That being said, you know, it's like I was watching one of these. What do you go back? There we go. You're full screen again. Anyway, sorry, Buster. Anyway, so I'm watching The Talking Dead, and it's like there's this difference between when Xander Berkeley comes out as the he's the dickish hilltop mayor, and everybody goes boo, and then Jeffrey Dean Morgan, the epitome of everything that is wrong and bad and evil in The Walking Dead, but he's cute. So he gets a big old woo, woohoo, woohoo. So I just want to be the woohoo villain, not the boo villain. Okay, just for a little while, because I've got a bunch of Voltron fans who they're wonderful people, but sometimes I get this group that's just whiny and thinks like I actually have any control whatsoever over their getting toys. And it's like, I only play powerful. I have no control over the release of your toys or of season 5.
Oh man.
Anyway.
Well, we're gonna jump.
So you got questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
And your dog is wanting to make himself known in the podcast, and we're gonna be the one with Gary and his dog.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Buster. Appreciate it.
It's gonna be Gary has a dog ? Is the name of the.
Yeah, but no chicken.
So the first question comes from Matt Grundy. He asks, he has a bunch of questions, many of which you've already answered. But the first one is, have you gotten any weird character pitches before? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. And so weird that I'm not even going to tell you about it.
That weird.
Yep.
Weirder than I think I saw on your film list there was an adult film, or not an adult film, but it was a sorry.
Are you talking about hentai, Pope?
No.
Yeah, I actually did that stuff for a little bit.
Yeah.
It paid the bills.
It did.
Paid the bills. But let me tell you, there is nothing more difficult that I have worked on than heavy breathing for a number of minutes. Okay?
Without passing out.
Oh no! Yeah, and you sit there and you just go, "Holy crud! I can't do this for much longer." And it's just, and all you're doing is heavy breathing, and you just can't get enough oxygen in. And it's terrible. And you sit there and go, who is the worst person in this equation? The person who buys it, the person who hires me to do it, or me?
Probably you in that equation.
Oh, you just,
Wow.
sorry, I didn't mean to go there. Briar, what do we got?
Hugo says, are voice actors one of the few people who actually look forward to telemarketing calls? Do you have any examples of where you've used your voice powers for evil rather than good?
I know that some people do. I don't. The closest thing I've got to that is, and yes, I did relocate into the bathroom. Buster's
With
not
heavy
in here.
breathing. Heavy breathing in the
Heavy
bathroom.
breathing in the bathroom.
Not right now. Anywho, I had one occasion when I walked into Blockbuster Video, and all of a sudden I hear Jason Mewes saying, fuck this, fuck that, fuck. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, Blockbuster, you've gotten racy. I wouldn't think that they'd let you watch this while you were working just in case families came in. And then I realized they were watching a bootleg copy of Clerks 2 before, obviously, it got released on video. And I'm thinking, this is fucked up, because if I did anything even remotely this stupid, I'd lose my job. This is moronic. How are these guys this stupid that they're doing this? So, went home, and I called up, And I have no idea why I fell into this voice, but hello, Blockbuster Video. Yeah, good evening. May I speak to your manager, please? Our manager's not here. Fine, I'd like to speak to your shift supervisor. Well, I guess that would be me. All right, what's your name, son? Jason. Jason. I'm calling from New York City. And don't ask me why I'm a Southern guy from New York City. My name is whatever. I'm vice president of Metro Goldwyn Mayer Pictures. I'm a vice president of marketing. And I'd like to speak to you about a little something I just found out from one of my associates out there in Los Angeles. Can you tell me why you are watching Clerks 2? What? We're not watching Clerks 2. We're watching Clerks. Oh, well then. Thank you very much. I appreciate you clarifying that. I will need to fire this person in the morning for not being able to tell the difference between a black and white movie and a color movie. Now, son, you want to try that again, please? We were, we were watching trailers from Clerks 2. Oh, all right. I appreciate that, son. Thank you for clarifying that. And now I will have to fire this person for not being able to identify the trailers that they worked on. And by the way, son, I helped to approve those trailers. Can you tell me in which one of those trailers Jason Mewes says the word fuck? Now listen, son, I ain't stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I wouldn't be making this goddamn phone call if I didn't already know what you were up to. Now, do you understand that we already deal with piracy? We know that it's there. We just don't need to publicize it, and we sure as shit don't need one of our goddamn corporate partners, Blockbuster Video, seeming like they approve of bootleg videos. Well, we're just in Sherman Oaks. Son, do you know where the people who work on these movies live? On the goddamn hill right behind your goddamn store. Do you have any idea how many times the writer of that movie comes in? I'm like Kevin Smith, like they wouldn't recognize Kevin Smith. So I'm just busting this kid's balls because I'm thinking, I'm saving a life here.
You're causing a...
Because I am scaring the shit out of this kid, and he will never, ever, ever make this stupid mistake ever again to put on a bootleg video with R-rated language when you're working at Blockbuster. So that's not
He's
quite
the
the
single
same.
one reason why Blockbuster is no longer anymore. You know,
Probably.
Put out of
It's all
business.
that kid's fault.
Yeah.
we can blame it on him.
Yep.
It's the beginning of the downfall.
Yeah, so that's not quite it's not quite a telemarketer, but it is fun with phone calls.
Chazland asks, what's a lesser known role that you did that you really liked, were proud of, or had a blast doing?
Well, I did one line on upcoming episodes of Disjointed with Kathy Bates on Netflix. That was a lot of fun. So you'll have to listen for that and try to pick me out. I did one line on the Digimon movie because I would kind of goof around in between takes. And I would do a lot of Edwin, don't you know? Oh, sure. Yes, I love to laugh. And the director would continually tell me, don't do that. Don't do that. And finally, one day, he gives me a line number while we're working on the movie, and he just says, now. And the line is finished. It's a teacher giving a test and a time test, and they were out of time. So he says, now. So here come the beeps. And the way you do ADRs, it's beep, beep, beep. And then when the fourth beep would happen, that's when you talk. So literally it's beep, 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 finished! So I just blasted out with the Ed Wynn, and that was a favorite. And in the Digimon movie, I did one line as there was a cat sitting in front of a laptop, and I literally said, "Thank you for visiting meow.com." And so that's some lesser known stuff. I enjoyed doing the Care Bear. That was lesser known. Wow, what else? Playing a Hut on Knights of the Old Republic and Old Republic. That was a lot of fun walking it. Well, the first time walking into the booth and seeing it written in Huttese and having a panic attack because I don't speak Huttese and they don't read Huttese. And so the best part about that was the director saying, "Neil, it's all right. It's not Star Trek." And I knew what he meant. I knew I had the nerd quotient enough to be able to tell. He meant, don't worry about mispronouncing it because this language doesn't exist and nerds won't bust you for it.
You're not speaking Klingon.
Yes.
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 So there's that, and then I think that those are a few for you.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
lesser known and stuff that I enjoyed.
Nils asks, are you only allowed to read the given text, or are you allowed to improve it to your liking?
That depends on the project. Every project is different. Like for instance, at one point, I told you it's the bathroom. Like for instance, by the time that I was playing Tychus Finley on Heroes of the Storm, I got to improvise some of the more perturbed lines directed at Jim Raynor and the Queen of Blades. Because by that point in time, I knew the character a little bit. I knew that posthumously he might have a little attitude about the way that things ended. Spoiler alert! In Wings of Liberty. And then there are some where it's just stick to the script. There's a reason that you have to say this and that you have to say this way. When you're dealing with a game that may have 60,000 pages of dialogue in it, it's not my place to mess with that. I have no idea if there may well be a reason why it's pronounced a certain way or why that word in particular is used. And there's very rarely a time where I will ever work and they will not at least want 2 takes of what's written. Give me one that works and then one for safety, just in case we have a small technical glitch. And if there's the time and if there's the money, and if there's the trust factor, and if, then we'll delve into something based on, what I think. I had one project that I did that was for Golden Boy Boxing. And they hired me to do this one thing. And then I came in and they had me do something completely different. Oh, that reminds me. I got to do my lipstick too.
Just some lip balm,
Oh, sorry.
It doesn't actually have weed in it, though. There's no extra bottle.
Anywho, so they have me read it differently, and that'll happen sometimes where you'll book it reading one way, and then you'll meet them in person. They'll have you do it another way. And I asked at the very end, because I got all the way through this copy and I felt like I kind of understood what they wanted. And I said, can I give you one take of what you guys hired me to do? Because I really think we haven't done that today. And I really think it'll fit and I really think it'll work. And I'll tell you what, I'll read it through in one take. And if I don't do it, scrap it, take whatever you like from what we've already done. But I just have a feeling about this. And I read it that way. One take. The very last take. And that's what they used.
Wow, that's awesome.
And my favorite part about it is they intermix it between me and Ice Cube. So, so
Wow.
this summer, I got to hear myself doing a duet with Ice Cube and a scene with Frank Langella, and I've never met either one of them. So as the fanboy that I am, I certainly enjoyed both of those things.
That's great.
You know,
I was actually wondering about that with like voice acting gigs, and I mean, more often than not, you don't meet the people that are also doing the voiceovers, right?
Right.
Like if you're having a conversation with them in the project, how often is that a dubbed type of situation where you're reading your lines?
It depends what it depends what it is. You know, when we first started working on Voltron, we usually would have the whole cast together. Then after everybody got accustomed to their characters and the director, you know, felt more comfortable with us, and a lot of those people do a lot of work on TV and movies, we would record more often separately.
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
And would it just be you then that day, and then they'd have somebody else come in the next day?
Yeah, and then there would be sometimes or I'd come in for a half hour on Thursday and somebody else would follow me up.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes maybe there would be a crossover and we do a scene together, and sometimes there wasn't. Mm-hmm. It depends. Video games, because of the very nature of how they usually work, is often line by line by line, you know, because most of the time we're doing the gameplay stuff, not the cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I've really only done cutscenes with other actors twice, if memory serves correct, and that would be a couple of scenes with Robert Clotworthy on StarCraft 2, and most of the cutscenes that we did for Spider-Man 3. So that was a blast because I got to work with Deborah Wilson from Mad TV, and she's just a joy.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Next question is from Patrick Kelly. He says, if you had the opportunity to voice any character in any TV show, film, or video game, who would it be?
That's one of those ones I keep to myself.
All right.
Fair enough.
I don't want to insult anybody or disrespect anybody who might be doing it already. You know, the ones that are closest to my heart, I don't want to put out there because a couple of times it was possible and they went with somebody else and it was kind of a heartbreaker. Mm-hmm. So, I'll say, you know, I love villains.
Yeah.
If I ever had the chance to bring Lex Luthor to life or the Joker, I think I'd have a good time with that.
That'd be fun.
Nice.
You know, I tend to like intellectual villains a little bit more than just the brute force. You know, I enjoyed playing Scadge. Scadge was great, but you know, give me Zarkon. You know, give me somebody with a mind and heart behind what it is they're trying to do. So Brainiac would be an awful lot of fun to do something with. You know, I guess this is when I show that I was more of a DC kid than a Marvel kid when I was growing up, you know. Doc Ock would be fun. You know, a lot of you know, I had a good time when I played the Green Goblin. You know, that was fun. Spawn, you know, and let's face it, if I ever got a phone call that asked me to hop back into a pair of giant metal robot transforming shoes, the phone wouldn't have to ring twice. You know, also wouldn't mind playing that other guy either. You know, I played Long Haul, who didn't have any dialogue in the movie, but I certainly did enjoy my opportunity to say, you know, I'll kill you, Optimus Prime. It was fun. It's a good line.
Last question from Real Good Murph says, has there ever been a voice that you wanted to imitate but just couldn't?
Well, I used to be able to do Beaker, and I can't anymore. That's the
Beaker
trade-off from the Muppets. I actually did a couple of educational video games for Jim Henson Productions early in my career. And that's an interesting direction to, okay, meep again, but be scared. Be angry. Okay, now lecture, and like really give it your all and meep to their heart's content. So it wouldn't be bad if I could get back down there. I have big problems doing the South African dialect. I'd love to be able to learn how to do that. I do one of the world's worst Christopher Walkens. I mean, it's terrible. It's horrible. It's so bad. Nobody knows it's Christopher Walken. It's really a vocal pile of shit, quite frankly. Yeah. So, those are a couple.
Yeah. Well, I think we really appreciate you coming on the show. I mean, I got to tell you, like, the work that you guys do really touches every video gamer's heart. Like, just like nothing else. It makes our games, the voice actors make our games come to life and are such an important part of our experience and our enjoyment. And I really appreciated your work in a lot of the stuff. I've been watching Voltron on Netflix, and just having you come on the
Pope might be lagging out right now.
It's exciting.
Maybe
Somebody else.
Yeah, he's definitely lagging
Well,
out.
I would like to say
take this.
thank you for coming on. I'm going to play League of Legends tonight and play Aurelion Sol. I'm in the mood for that.
I had a really good time playing him. I will mention that the director I worked with on that, her favorite direction for me was jazz hands.
You can hear the jazz hands.
You can hear the jazz hands. Absolutely.
Little tiny hands, but you can hear them for sure.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was really fun. This was
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
A lot of.
Everyone said it's their favorite
sorry, I'm
episode.
lagging.
I'm always afraid of disappointing people with, it's like I do these giant, nasty, powerful characters, and I'm just this schlubby old nerd,
That's awesome.
with an occasionally really bad sense of humor, So I think that kind of describes my Twitter feed at Kneecap, NEKAP. But yeah, I get a little political every now and then. I think the way I best describe it is my nerd river runs deep and wide. I'm a passionate baseball fan, but I don't know as much about the game as many people that I know. I'm a Star Wars nerd that's sat in line at the Chinese for the last 2 episodes, and yet I was the guy who sat there and went, "Where'd they come up with those dice? What the? Wait, that was in Star Wars?" So it's like 40 years later, I'm going, really? That was there the whole time? So, I have I'm a good person to have on your Trivial Pursuit team. I don't know a lot about any one thing, but I know a little about an awful lot. So I think that kind of describes my Twitter feed. That and the golden rule. I just try to give everybody the attention we all want in this world. I know how good I know how I feel when Mark Hamill likes one of my tweets. Mm-hmm. Look, Paul Williams the other day when somebody posted something, the lyrics from the Candy Store, the last song from the Muppet movie. Life's like a movie, write your own ending. And so I wrote, keep believing, keep pretending, which is the next line in the song. And then I followed it up with the last lyric of the song, which was, thanks to the lovers, the dreamers, and you, Paul Williams. And he sent me back the little prayer hands, the prayer hands, which is also the Hollywood 70s thing that they used to do, put their hands together and then bow, and they, thank you, which I can't do because I'm holding the screen right now with my other hand. But I was walking Buster in the park and saw this and literally like, oh my God.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh my God! It's Paul Williams, and he acknowledged that I said thank you. So it's like I know how good that feels, and I want to turn around and give that to as many people as I can. And I'm a goofball who tries to appreciate that we all take up about the same amount of space on this ball of dirt in the giant space ocean that we're floating through, and I just want to try to be nice to people, treat people the way I'd want to be treated. And so when somebody says they want to talk to me, it's like, somebody wants to talk to me? Sure. So I appreciate the fact that you guys and your fans and your listeners are even interested. So thanks, y'all.
Thanks for coming
Everyone
on.
had a blast. And all I've seen in chat is this is the best podcast.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
absolutely.
So I think you've made lots of people very, very happy.
Kat is absolutely demanding a gall line.
Yeah.
We need you to do a gall line.
This is where I do the Bugs Bunny laugh when he's in drag and trying to flirt with Elmer Fudd. Oh, Mr. Fudd. And then I'll sit there and say, you're not brave. You've merely forgotten the fear of death. Allow me to reacquaint you.
Amazing.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Neil. Really appreciate it.
That was awesome.
That was amazing. Oh my God.
Some people made they could tell so many stories and they're so entertaining that you can't help but just sit there and just listen.
Right? Yeah.
Just give him a podcast. We don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
Just give it to him.
Podcast.
We'll leave. He'll talk to everyone. It'll be great.
That was great.
Did I miss him?
You
Yeah,
did, Pope.
yeah, he just
I'm sorry,
took
man.
Oh, man.
Looks like your video's still
Yeah,
lagging,
I was
unfortunately.
really... all right, I'm gonna restart my rig.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'll be back.
That was amazing.
That
That
was
was absolutely
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic guest. Do we want to talk about the dawning now?
Let's not. Let's just say we did.
Let's just say how amazing that was, and we're all happy.
Yeah, let's
And,
just move right into
See
Twitter
you
questions.
listening. Yeah, let's do that. I like it.
Honestly, I had no idea how
Real
many.
quick about Dawning. Mayhem, great. Love the snowballs. Twitter questions.
I mean, we should legitimately talk about it. Yeah, especially with like Mayhem being just
Actually
so
fun.
nice. Yeah, actually
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
In D1 Mayhem, I always kind of avoided it. It was fun, but I never spent time in Mayhem because I could kind of care less about constantly
A
being
couple
super.
of games was fun.
Yeah,
I hated it.
yeah.
I played like half a game, and I'm like, freaking don't.
Same,
wanna do that.
same.
Like,
When it was
yeah.
6v6, I just couldn't really stand Mayhem. Now with 4v4, it makes sense for some strange reason. Mayhem just really makes sense with the way the meta is set up right now.
Yeah. There's an interplay between the supers too it really plays out in a fun way because it happens so often and so fast.
Yeah.
Watts, please tell me you're playing a Night Stalker.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Because it is
don't like
so
fun?
fun. It is
It's so
You
fun.
shut down
Night
fun?
Stalker. You're
It's
setting
amazingly
traps
fun.
around the map. You're telling your teammates where you set the trap. When somebody gets stuck in your trap, everybody on your team is alerted to it because they get their little red crosshairs. So they all jump out from behind the corner, team shot the guy, and then go back to
You know what's even better is that people are just so aggressive in Mayhem that they might potentially know your tether's there. They don't care. They're going in.
Yeah.
So you
They're
just
going-
get to tether everyone all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I've had a couple of games. I'm not Miss 5,000 watts over here. So a 40 kill or a 40 kill /assist game, that doesn't happen to me in PvP, but it does with a tether in Mayhem.
That's awesome. That's
Nice.
a lot of kills.
I have not had a 40 kill game. That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
It's a ton of fun out there right now.
Yeah, it's a blast. Did you play multiple classes?
Yeah, I played a lot of Nova Bomb, and I played a little bit of Sunbreaker today. But I'm just craving going back to the Night Stalker. It is absolutely a blast.
You know what's fun as well is you get to shoot people. Like you do actually get to use your gun if you're a Night Stalker, because you tell them and then shoot them. So I kind of get to use my gun a little bit too, which I enjoy.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people. I noticed a lot of people running at you with a super, and you can just pull out your energy weapon and kill them.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
Bust them down, yeah. Especially like strikers that are far
strikers,
away,
they're so fun.
running straight at you.
Yeah,
because everybody's got this like super aggressive mentality right now.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Gary, who I do the other podcast with, he was telling me you got to put on the 10 mobility hunter. And I got to tell you, it's amazing because pretty much if you get hit once in Mayhem, you're gonna die. So there's no point in having recovery or resilience.
Fair
so
point.
having the 10 mobility, you're just like popping around. You're so hard to hit. You know, you're strafing back and forth super fast. It is unbelievably fun. You just feel so quick and agile.
I'm gonna have to try that. I've been actually valuing mobility a little bit higher recently. Yeah.
Especially with recovery kind of losing prominence with the update.
Yeah, exactly. It seems it's really good to be able to have that strafe game going on, have people miss and all that, which is awesome. I've been Nova Bomb and I've been Golden Gun. Those are the only ones I've been so far, and it's been a lot. And I have not done the glitch. We all know about.
If you do the glitch, see, then you don't like fun.
Yeah, you're anti-fun. Don't do the glitch. Yeah,
I see people doing the glitch. I don't care because they're stuck in my tether.
Tether is
glitch
the great.
Now, you son of a bitch.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is the good anti-glitch thing right there.
That's true.
Yeah, that is pretty nice.
And running around with the colony because robot spooters.
Oh my god, that colony is a ton of fun.
I just got it yesterday. Started shooting. I haven't even taken it into PvP yet. And
take it into Mayhem. It is so fun.
It seems amazing.
My favorite part about the colony is when you shoot one of them little spiders of doom, right? But you go around the corner, but you see the opponents kind of like their emblem kind of pop up in the air because they're dead.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's great. I also I was so close to getting a 6-man kill with my Goldie. So close. I had 5 shots. Well, one of them whiffed, and I could have had the 6th shot if that one hadn't whiffed. So you don't see that happen ever because of the respawn time, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really fun. I think a huge reason why I didn't like it in Destiny 1 is I was already dying a ton to grenades and supers.
Yep.
So when I went into Mayhem, I was like, this is kind of just more of what I don't want.
Extra one
Whereas
hit
in
kills.
Destiny, exactly, yeah. So whereas in Destiny 2, it's like, well, I don't get to have my super, 7 times a game. I don't get to do any of that. So it's actually, it feels a lot more fun to do Mayhem in Destiny 2.
Yeah, it's great. And there's plenty of power ammo. There's so much power ammo spawning that you feel like you can actually test out some weapons too, which is something that actually both in the supers and in the power weapon situation is we haven't had that ability to test things out. So this Mayhem kind of gives you that. Like if you haven't played as a Sentinel Titan, now's the time to try it out because you're going to get it really fast and you can try out some stuff and kind of learn some things. Yeah. When I was using Nova Bomb, I used Slova. I never used Slova, so I tried it out. And the number of times that people shot my Slova out of the air, if I had just picked it up and only had a super once or twice a game, I'd be like, what the hell? Where'd my super go? But now I'm like, okay, they can shoot it out of the air. It makes more sense for that to happen.
Hello.
Welcome back, Pope. We're talking about Mayhem. Have you played it?
Oh my god, I couldn't stop playing it. It's so much fun.
It is really
I
fun.
honestly had the most fun I've had playing PvP in a long time.
Yeah, we haven't had a situation in PvP yet where it's just one more game. I gotta do one more.
I know.
Yep.
And I hope, so I've heard most people having this sentiment of Mayhem is super fun in Destiny 2. So I hope that maybe the Crucible team can take that and be like, okay, well, why are they enjoying Mayhem so much? What can we do to regular PvP to make it kind of this fun? Obviously, we don't want Mayhem to be just normal PvP. Right. But I think we're enjoying it because people are being aggressive. You can make plays. You don't have to hold hands. You don't feel that pressure to stick near your teammates anymore. And I think that's a big reason why I'm having so much fun in there as well. I can go off on my own and be like, going to kill the whole team. Going to try. Yeah. Whereas I always felt like I could do that in Destiny 1. At least try and get go 1v6, maybe you kill 4.
Yeah.
But in Destiny 2, it's like, I'm just going to die, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of reasons, though, it's so different than the rest of Destiny 2 PvP. First of all, it's a playlist of itself. So you don't have to worry about getting game modes that you don't want to play. If you like playing Mayhem, it's one playlist. It's one game mode.
Mm-hmm.
And that's nice. It's also, you know what to expect, so you're not kind of like knocked off on your heels. Oh, I was hoping to play Control, but now I'm playing, this other game mode. So
sure.
I don't know. I'd like to see them break out the playlists in more depth, right? So like, if I don't want to play Control, I don't have to play Control.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't want to play, this, I don't have to play that. Did you guys also notice there's another diamond in the bottom right-hand corner?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yeah, and there was that leaky poo that we talked about last week about elimination and Rumble.
Oh, maybe
so
they get
I feel
rotating.
like the other side would be elimination because it's in the competitive
Yes, that would make sense.
You're breaking my heart. I want it to be Rumble.
Yeah, but Rumble's gonna be somewhere.
Okay.
Rumble's gonna be somewhere.
I could see these rotating. I mean, I can't imagine them not bringing back Mayhem. Mayhem has been so fun, and they're going to see the data. They're going to see how many people are playing it. They're going to be like, it's got to be in rotation when like Iron Banner is not here, or something like that. They got to be bringing it back.
One of the things that I felt was really enticing about not just the game being fun in the gameplay, but also I felt like it was pretty rewarding as far as the loot. When you activate those Crucible boons and other, there's 2, one sold from Eververse and then one from Shaxx. But the loot that comes down at the end of the game, I mean, have you guys seen it? Just like streaming down the right?
It's a lot more rewarding.
Masterwork scout rifle at the end of the game. I was like, ooh.
I got 2 Masterworks yesterday from it.
Yeah. It's actually really good for loot.
It's really good for loot. I really feel like I was playing it. I'm like, man, this is like loot farming. This is like where you would go, but it's an activity. It's playing. It's fun. It's just going to be so frustrating when they take it away.
Yeah, it's a good source of exotics too, and legendaries like Watts was saying are dropping. Masterworks are dropping. They're not dropping super frequently, but I mean, I leveled up my Hunter from 30 to 35 just by playing Mayhem. I didn't even touch the story yet for Curse of Osiris. It's fun. Yeah. You have to level up your character so you can use, like, if you've started infusing gear up to, what is it, 330? 335, and then you go to a character that's level 20. Wait, what are the?
It's 20 and 25.
There's levels in the
20 to 25. Sorry. So if you go back to a character who's level 20, he can't access that 335 gear anymore. Even though he was using it yesterday, all that stuff got infused up. So that forces you to use some gear that you haven't used in a while, for one thing.
Yes.
But you can gear up very quickly just by playing Crucible now.
Yeah.
I had a character that hadn't even played any of the Curse of Osiris, and just through playing Mayhem, which you can get in without any problem and not be worried about being under leveled. I found it quickly leveling up. So one of the things that I had questions about in the leveling up process is, do you guys know if you receive any dawning engrams for not for the leveling up process, right? But
you only get bright engrams for leveling up.
Yeah, or illuminated engrams right now.
Illuminated engrams.
And then season 2 engrams.
The only way that you're getting those dawning engrams is through doing the milestones, right?
Milestones and the schematics.
7 of them. You can possibly get 7 of them through the whole event of the dawning. Other than that, you got to buy them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was really.
I wasn't really stoked about that. That really kind of pissed me off.
Yeah. Huh? Wait, hold on. Before we rail on Eververse, because obviously that's going to happen. Right. I just want to re-highlight the fact that Mayhem has brought out so much more entertainment for casual PvP than Quick Play, which is supposed to be low intensity, could ever bring out. Quick Play has become sweat play, as we all know. You go in there, the people who want to refine their abilities and get better at Destiny 2's PvP in general, hang out in Quick Play. They don't do competitive. And competitive was supposed to be that mode, and it completely failed in that perspective. Competitive is a different spin on Destiny 2 PvP, and Quick Play has become the new sweat play / skirmish, that type of thing that was in D1 that you went into with friends if you wanted to try hard, but you'd go into 6v6 to just have fun. And Mayhem is great. It's brought that, but they got to find some sort of happy middle ground in there. Like maybe they could do something where types of power ammo or a different type of power ammo box shows up that can only fill things like shotguns and snipers, but it can't fill like a rocket, you know? Like maybe they could have something in there to give people more options to feel like they can make plays, and then adjust the way supers recharge or something, or I don't know. There's got to be something in there to bridge the gap, because the 4v4 quick play isn't fun for most people.
It's not.
Yeah.
Do you think if they add ranked play to the competitive playlist, it'll draw in
I don't think so.
You don't think it'll draw?
I think ultimately
the
PvP
sandbox.
is not fun, right?
Yeah.
It's not fun for most people.
Well, I mean, I'm having fun in PvP. I mean,
Well,
I play constantly
we're talking
all
about
throughout the week,
competitive
and I'm having
players, though.
fun.
Well,
You're talking about incentivizing competitive players to go play somewhere else.
Yeah. I think it comes down to
talking
time to
about
kill.
incentivizing. I mean, if you're worried about all the most competitive players playing in what's supposed to be the casual bucket, if you incentivize them to go play in the more competitive bucket, which is what the competitive game mode is supposed to be, wouldn't that clear out the quick play bucket?
That's what we're saying.
If you take Overwatch as an example, it does not equate to that. The quick play in Overwatch is sometimes as sweaty, if not more sweaty, because people are trying to refine their abilities for the seasonal competitive playlist. So the inherent problem is that 4v4 in the current sandbox ends up making matches feel the way they do right now, regardless of skill, really. So the higher tier skill, it just becomes even more of a finer viewpoint of that. So they need to adjust the time to kill, like bring back 3-tap hand cannons, and then they need to adjust the way the power gets distributed. I don't know exactly how it needs to be, but it obviously is not where it needs to be. But we needed some sort of big team battle in Destiny 2 with adjusted time to kills.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I mean, the sandbox right now for PvP is not as interesting as it could be for competitive players, and so they're hanging around in my playlist and kicking my ass. So it'd be nice for us to give them a little sandbox for them to play in.
Do you guys want to talk about snowballs? Snova bombs?
Yeah,
Snova bombs are awesome.
They're really good.
Yes, they are fun, man.
Snowballs are fun.
So they added snowballs to strikes. They added them to public areas like the tower and the farm. There is a farm. I don't know if you guys still know that.
There is.
There's snowball fights and forts there. Okay, it's pretty.
And a hockey rink.
Yeah, and they added it to public events, or not public events, but patrol areas. So basically, anywhere you go, that's not like.
I wish it would have taken the place
Crucible.
or added to where the heavy spawns. Just like
That
a
would be
pile
fun.
of snow there.
Yeah,
That would be
amazing. Every once in a while, yeah.
Pick the timer, 30
seconds.
seconds.
Timer, like a cooldown
know.
on it.
Yeah.
Because I
10
understand that
seconds.
maybe it's gonna make it too easy for people to do prestige activities, but it's the holidays. Just let people have some fun. Let things be a little crazy for a while, you know.
Break the game a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bungie,
Right.
let us be crazy. We enjoy crazy a little bit.
Yeah, we've had two glitches essentially in PvP now. Let us have a glitch in PvE that makes us just go crazy with a bunch of weapons. I mean, I guess it did kind of happen with the coil, now that I think about it.
Yeah. It did.
The snowballs are fun, and I was pretty impressed once I realized that the things that you hit, whether it be guardians or enemies or even bosses, actually show the snow on them.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, actually. It looks good.
The effect makes it an interesting part of a strike. Like if you're running strikes, it slows the character down. If it's a yellow bar enemy, it will kill red bars in one shots. But a yellow bars, it will slow them down, and they're actually stunned, and they'll sit there and they'll walk really slowly and kind of not be able to attack you. So it makes an interesting element to running strikes. So I think it's fun. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Has anybody tried out hockey yet?
No.
By myself.
I completely
nobody
forgot.
there?
I played solo. Yeah, there was no one there.
Yeah, there was no one there when I went. So
I forgot about the farm and I forgot about hockey.
I played
Yeah.
snowballs in the fort with a bunch of people. I went to the farm and we were all around the forts and we were throwing snowballs at each other. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
Not gonna lie, every time I go to the tower, I pick up a snowball and I throw it at anybody standing next to Tess Everest. Just saying.
Does Tess get covered in her in the coke that she's selling?
She might be protected.
She's got all our money to keep her warm.
Yeah.
Protect her from snowballs.
Nothing sticks to her, man. It just,
Interesting.
I mean, it can't be for her to stand there and be like, "Hey, Guardian, you got the money, I got the goods."
Mm-hmm.
I was playing Strikes yesterday. I had a game where I made 73 orbs. 73 guys.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
those are some rookie numbers.
What?
Oh,
How many have you made? What's your top?
I'm just saying that, I think we need to get together. I need to jump into one of your streams and show you how to do it.
Do you have do you have a masterwork weapon on PC?
All I'm saying is that when you run a duo, when you run a trio that has masterworks in their primary, or like Uriel's gift as a masterworks,
Pope.
What are you
Midnight
talking?
Coup. Midnight Coup.
I hear you talking
Boom,
about Midnight
boom,
Coup. but
Rampage, reload, boom, boom, orb,
You
boom,
remember,
boom, orb,
I'm on
boom,
console,
boom, orb.
so let's just slow down here with this hand cannon talk.
I wasn't talking about platform,
hand
man.
cannons are great on console.
Yeah.
Though. They really are. They really are.
Uh-huh.
They're good.
Yeah, they are.
I have
Yeah.
fun using them.
Yeah, I still use my auto rifle. I love it. But yeah, no, it's fun. It's great to get a ton of orbs and to chain them and work with your team that you can pick up your own orbs. All that has made strikes so much more fun.
Definitely.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to when they actually put modifiers in, hopefully next month. For
Yes.
rogues.
Question. What loot have you guys gotten from Dawning Engrams and also the schematics that you get?
A lot of sparrows.
Two different kinds of shaders that look exactly the same.
But one gives you legendary shards, right, bro?
And one gives you
The
bright
one
dust.
gives you
They were so concerned about us breaking the economy of Eververse that the shaders you get from it's
the dumbest decision ever.
it is gotta be. I'm sitting there looking at it going, and it's like 7. It's 7
7 dust.
dust.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what does a piece of armor
what-
cost? Like 700?
right? What kind of asinine we gotta protect the Eververse from the person that's gonna grind,
Especially
dailies.
with the vault
I mean,
problem.
shit.
I mean,
Right, they don't stack.
like, what the hell? The vault is such a
You're
problem.
giving me like 20 more shaders that I don't have space for, that I then have to put in my vault, which I don't have space to put in my vault.
Yeah, that was
It's
when I saw
really,
that, I was like, "Are you for real? The
Yeah.
dust is that precious?"
It's the
The chest was
Very
1,200.
precious.
1,200 dust is a lot of dust. Even if someone grinded their hearts out doing all of this, they would struggle to get the 1,200 dust
Yeah.
from 0 with just
These
shaders.
are the people, Bungie, that you want to reward.
Yeah.
The people who would spend this whole 3 weeks grinding their asses off. Don't jip them, reward them.
Exactly.
Say you are an ambassador for our game. You are the people that we love the most because you love us the most.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's really
Don't
ironic.
Fuck them.
They're not going to get people to buy these things if nobody is interested in playing it. You know?
yeah.
If the population bottoms out
I'm getting to
because
the
of
point
it.
with Eververse where I don't even want to run a ship or a ghost that comes from there because I don't want to show it on stream or in the loot box showcase at the beginning of every trials match where they show all the stuff you got on loot boxes like emotes and ghosts and armor. I don't even want to show that on stream. I don't want to interact with it in any way. I don't want to equip it on my character. I'm so fucking disgusted with it at this point.
You know, I hear your frustration with the Eververse, but I think the stuff looks cool as shit, so I'm still putting it on.
And that slippery emote, top notch.
You know what? The
Top
dances are actually
notch.
pretty cool. If you're playing
Yeah.
music in your stream and they're doing like the The dance.
Yes.
Oh, it's amazing. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, Briar, I'm trying not to make. I don't want to make light of how you feel about it. I agree that Eververse and the direction they're going with it has got to be the dumbest thing that I have ever
Stupid.
seen.
It's really
Bungie
bad.
do.
And we have the power to change it.
We
I-
do.
We have the power.
I don't know if
All we have to do is say no. We're not
No,
buying
all
it.
we have to do is not buy their
Yeah.
Eververse stuff, and that's what I'm choosing not to do.
And the
So-
more they make these events more focused on Eververse, I feel like people are gonna not want to spend the money. Like, you know, in Destiny
Exactly.
1, I spent money to get Ghost. I was like, I want Ghost. I love Destiny. This is fine. But then now with illuminated engrams and all that stuff and bright engrams, normally I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna drop like $20, see what I can get from it. But now I'm
Sure.
like, I don't really want.
you know
to
why?
do-
Yep, they've
It's-
gone to promote the Eververse store in the Dawning event is crazy, right? As we already talked about, you can't break down stuff you get for dust, right? I mean, you get 7 dust if you break down a shader, which used to get you 100 dust. But there's so many different ways in which they're trying to like steer you toward buying stuff like constantly,
Mhm.
right? They have
Yeah.
new exotic ghosts that give you tangible benefits in the game, right?
Yes.
You get more
Yeah.
rewards if you have one of these ghosts equipped, and you can only get this ghost from Eververse, right? It's not available anywhere else.
It's a really poor direction, and if Bungie is listening, well, I know Bungie is listening. One of the things that is universal, almost universal across the community right now, is that they overstepped, they oversold Eververse in the design of this game right now, and
Completely
I hope,
agree.
sincerely hope, that we're going to see Eververse take a backseat to the content that we're getting in the game in future installments. And I understand that it takes time to develop and to implement changes. I just really sincerely hope that that's what they're doing right now with their time.
Yep. I
Yeah.
agree.
The thing, Watts, when you were talking about how like Ghosts, the thing that felt different about that is it was in addition to the game that we played.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
what they've done with these events is made it feel like Eververse is bringing this event. And
Right.
the focus is Eververse. And we don't want that to be the focus ever.
No,
Right.
like they brought Mayhem, right? They could make it to where when you're playing Mayhem, you have the chance of getting some Eververse stuff drop. At the end of the
Absolutely.
match. It's a holiday event.
Or
Why
even
not?
just earn those engrams. Just they randomly
Yeah.
drop a dawning
Or
engram.
even have
Right,
it to where
why-
when I level up, I could get a Dawning Engram. So
Yeah.
if I
Right.
want to grind, if
What the
I
hell
want
is
to grind,
that?
I can get as many as I want. If I want
Why
to
are we
grind
getting
that hard,
illuminated engrams and not Dawning engrams right now?
Because Bungo
from
done
leveling up.
bungoed.
Yeah, this is a really
Yes.
bad play on their part. The PR could not have been a worse timing right now for them going into the holiday break. And the last thing that they give us before we leave, because the game is beautiful.
Mhm.
Briar, like, it's gorgeous.
It's amazing.
The
what
visuals
is the
are always
power right now
there.
with the snow coming down.
The armor,
Yeah.
the way that I feel what I'm most upset about is that I'm not excited about the Dawning. I'm pissed about the Eververse, and it takes away my right, like my desire to feel excited about, because I'm enjoying the Dawning right now, man. I'm enjoying playing.
right? I'm
But-
enjoying the strikes. I'm enjoying
Right.
Mayhem.
All that stuff is cool as shit, man. And the thing that's stealing it from me is that when I go, and this is the thing that pisses me off the most, is when I go turn in an engram, because they know it's like a drug dealer that's giving you one hit for free.
Mhm.
And you get that engram that, and you go over there and you open it up, and you don't want to do it, but you open it up and you unlock it and it drops your loot. But you can't help but see all the cool shit in there.
That's why they're giving you those engrams.
I know, man, and it
That's
pisses
the
me off
reason
because
they're
I
there.
can't get.
That's why they show all 6 Guardians or all 8 Guardians at the beginning of Trials of Cyrus. So you see those cool emotes that you don't have. So you go to the Eververse and you buy them. There's so many reasons or so many decisions they made along the way with this game to just drive you toward that Eververse store.
And the game itself right now, I really enjoy playing it. It puts a sour taste in my mouth when I go to the tower and I get treated.
Even
like
if you're
that.
a
It's
Destiny
just-
fan, it's very hard right now to be a Bungie fan.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that's true.
That's a fair comment.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
people who are still fans of the game have lost a lot of faith in Bungie's ability to develop it further. And
they sound a little tone deaf right now.
yeah, I've said this in my streams multiple times. For me personally, there isn't another game that scratches the itch of Destiny right now.
Right.
And
yeah.
I will continue to play it because I enjoy it. I still have fun playing it. But if there was another game, if there was like a Borderlands 3 or Borderlands Online or something that had that same type of experience of a first-person shooter that was also a looter, you're absolutely right. I'd be playing it right now. Like I'd be all over it.
You know, like the fact is, when I go in and play Destiny, I have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But when I start thinking about Destiny as a product, it angers me. I feel abused by, the bean counters that are running the show.
Mm-hmm.
And like there are plenty of artists and musicians and PvP designers, and PvE designers, and raid designers. Like the raid layer is unbelievable.
It's really good.
The tower looks incredible in the dawning event. Like there's so much beautiful things about this game. There's these fucking bean counters that are just fucking us constantly in this game.
That's what makes me really sad is that you have all of these talented people who cannot control any of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It feels like
they're not part of those high up meetings.
Yep.
It's like 3 dudes. I mean, I don't know how many it is, but it's not the entire studio that is making the decisions for this stuff. You just have talented people who are putting their talents into a game that so many people are losing faith with. It makes me really sad.
They make the Dawning gear, which looks incredible, and then they put it behind Eververse.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the way that some of the challenges and changes, the way that I feel like I'm grinding for the, I'm just starting to get my masterworks. I got enough that I could rank up a gun of my own. And I mean, I obviously
try to
play
put
a
up
lot
some
less.
respectable orbs in a strike.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying
I'll be
to.
expecting
I'm just trying
you to beat my 73 next week.
I'm just trying to
I
put
might have
up
beaten
some
it
respectable.
also. So
yeah. Well, who knows? So, but I'm getting some of the forged weapons. I'm onto my third forged weapon, from Curse of Osiris. I'm really excited about that. That's my level of play right now, and I like the changes that they've made. It's fun and it's interesting, and I just really hope that I wish that some of the stuff all the stuff that I see in the Eververse was at the end game. It was part of something that I could get in the game if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In a world where we're disappointed that there's no real reason to do the prestige raid because the loot's not there.
And then the loot's like sitting there in the Eververse
well, it is
store.
there.
It's just like, whoa, there it is. It's really good. It's right there.
Well, I mean, what they did with armor is a different situation, but yeah, there's a lot of questionable decisions that were made in higher up game design level type of stuff with Destiny 2 that it's a bummer. It's a definite bummer. But
it is a bummer.
Yeah,
it's fixable.
It is. That's the thing.
Sure is.
But I would really like to hear the direction that something communication.
You want them to acknowledge that it's fixable and that you want them to acknowledge that, hey, this was actually a bad decision. We're going to shift away from this focus so we can give you something
but how
better.
many times have we heard that in the last couple of months and they just continue to do the same shit?
I don't think we've ever heard that
How many
ever.
apologies have we gotten over the last 3 months from Bungie?
I don't think we've
2,
ever gotten
3?
an apology.
I don't think I
think
like
the
to have these
podcast
saying
was an apology, right?
Mhm.
I think there are comments about the way the way you stopped getting
XP,
help me out.
XP gate.
Yeah, they apologized about that.
They said that they.
Oh no, I want them to be like Eververse and us designing the game like this was a mistake. We're gonna move away from that.
Yeah.
I want to hear it like plain as day. Not we are listening. Not like just this was a mistake. This specific thing was a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what I want to
be like, guys, sorry, we dropped the ball. We thought we were going in a direction that was going to be beneficial for the game. Turns out it's actually bad. We're going to try to fix it.
It's just beneficial for our pocketbooks.
But you know what? That's the thing is, it's not going to be beneficial for the pocketbook because if the game doesn't last because people get fed up with those decisions, then you don't have people buying treasure boxes when there's no people playing it.
I agree.
I'm curious. I'm actually curious if I was a fly on the wall in the office of where they're counting up all their glimmer, right? Does has it affected their pocketbook? Are people still buying Eververse? Is it paying for itself?
Well, it's like what people say, right? All you need is a few people to be the big ballers, the big whales, people call them, that drop $100 on this event.
Mhm.
All you need is a few people like that for loot boxes to be worth it.
There was a Reddit post this week that said to get all of the gear out of the Dawning, you had to spend somewhere between, depending on your RNG, somewhere between $80 and $600.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just.
And there's people who want all that gear.
I want all that gear,
Where are you
man.
gonna put it? You
I
have
think
no
we
vault
all
space.
want all that gear, but like, oh my gosh.
You have no space for it.
I've gotten some work on some of the gear on my hunter or my warlock, and I just think it looks really good, and it makes me inspired to go play my other characters and get that armor, and then I don't know.
Questionable decisions.
At this point, the game acts and plays more like a free-to-play game than a game that we paid $60 for or more with DLC and
maybe that's the
prestige
direction they're
editions or whatever.
going, Briar. Maybe
Free-to-play?
Destiny 3 will be free to play, and
It's 35% off right now if you buy it. So
it's getting there.
it's getting a
It's
little
on its
cheaper.
way.
It's cheaper than it was yesterday.
For sure.
I feel like they have to be aware. I mean, they said,
yeah.
They said in that letter of acknowledgement, yes, there's certain things that we weren't clear about or whatever, however they worded it. So they're aware that things have to change. It's just our idea of what the future of Destiny needs to be, and their idea is going to be somewhere in the middle.
And our goals are different.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
They're going to meet us somewhere in between, and we just hope that Tess Eververse is not going to be a dominant figure in that.
Fenchurch push her off the tower.
There you go.
And Fenchurch is like, I'm not as bad as Tess, but like I got some stuff.
Everything's double price. Fuck you guys. You killed my cousin.
I'm pretty sure Rahul is like the private backer behind all this because he's a smug son of a
Rahul's
bitch.
gonna save us. He's gonna be the one. It's gonna be a twist of fate.
I'm pretty sure he carried the loan for Tess to start the business.
Now, what's going to happen is Ventress is going to come
about when you were talking about subscription fee to Destiny. Yeah. Man, I really wish that was here instead of what we got now.
Yeah. Well, I think the adventurer Ventress is going to come back, and he's going to be like, coming back to his store, and he's going to look at Tess and he's going to go, "What have you done with the place? I leave for 2 years, and look what you've done to the place." And then he kicks her out and goes, "Sorry, everybody, everything's," like the Jewish grandpa. He's like, everything's 10% off.
He's gonna roll up with Ava Levante on the back of his bike, and she's gonna be like, "I'm back, bitches,"
I'm back.
and she's gonna have
wearing a pink lady's jacket.
Yeah, and then she's gonna have so many
snacking
shaders.
on her bubble
it's
gum.
gonna be the old system. It's gonna be free shader, well, glimmer shaders.
She's gonna have a kiosk that you can check off the ones that you've earned, so you don't have to keep them.
Mm-hmm. There we go. That's what's gonna. There you go, Bunny. This is free stuff right here.
Right? Got Life writing you lore on how to do this. Paul Tassie's writing you lore on how to do this. I mean, we're ready.
Did you read Paul's dialogue for it?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Paul Tassie wrote a dialogue for what the script would look like in the demise of Tess. And it's like a scene of it. And so many people asked me to have, Neil Kaplan read in the
Oh
scene
my gosh.
and asked us to read it out. And I was like, oh man, no. But it would have been funny to do it.
Would have been funny.
Funny.
You guys want to do some Twitter questions?
Let's do it.
I do.
Yeah, it's getting pretty late.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I went pretty heavy on the stupid stuff today because
That's fine.
Please do. I need to laugh.
it's going to go to.
I need to laugh.
Pat's not here. This was a good question for Pat.
Well, I'll
Damn
pretend. Wait.
What will Patrick do?
Watts will pretend to be Pat.
Okay.
What will Patrick do?
Watts. Question for Pat. How do you know if a girl wants your deck? A girl I've been hanging out with keeps complimenting my starts and the cards I play. Do you think she wants my deck?
Yes.
It's a solid yes.
Right.
Well, what would Patrick do? He'd go on a rant about foils, probably, and like, or is she just complimenting your foils? Because it might just be the foils. I don't know. I don't know enough about magic. If it's not foils, then she probably wants you. There, yeah, it's the beanie. We need the beanie. That's how we truly.
Does Pat wear
become
Birkenstocks?
Patrick.
Please say yes.
If he does, he has to wear them with white socks on.
I feel like he's got to own a
Maybe.
pair of Birkenstocks.
He probably does. He probably does that.
Azreb says, if you had to be stranded on a desert island with a fellow podcast member, who'd you pick? All right, I read this question before, so I already know my answer because I had time to think about it. And the obvious answer here is Pope Bear. Pope Bear is the only person who gets any shit done around here.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with
The
Pope.
obvious pick is
I
fucking
think
Pope.
we all go with Pope at this point.
I'm gonna-
because he's our,
You guys are
The reason I go with Pope also is because I've cooked with him and I know he can actually cook. So,
Yo, benefit.
yeah.
Pope will look after us.
Yeah.
The rest
Thanks,
of us,
guys, I really
Any
appreciate
other
it.
two of us are going to stand looking at each other like,
I'll make sure we I'm gonna make sure we survive and we're healthy and we have fun doing it and we get off the island
But Pope, where's
Together.
the rum?
alive. The rum,
Where's
we're gonna make
the
it.
rum?
We're gonna make it because on this island there is some fruit and you can make it from the sugar.
See,
It's not that hard to do.
Oh.
telling you.
Pope.
See, I wouldn't have known that.
Pope
Pope
is-
knows that.
All right.
We're gonna
hey,
do it.
driving to work, there's a major accident that causes you to be late. As you drive by the scene, do you feel bad or do you say in your head, you son of a bitch, look what you've caused? Which one best describes you? Be honest.
You said major accident, right?
So read it again.
There's a major accident that causes
Okay.
you to be late for work.
Major.
Okay.
As you drive it by, in your head to yourself, are you saying, you son of a bitch, look what you've caused, or do you feel bad?
All right. I'll tell you what I do because I've been doing this for most of my life and it's a karma thing. When I used to ride bicycles, I would be riding along the side of the road and I would see roadkill often along the side of the road. And it always made me sad to see these animals that had been killed or anybody that's injured in my mind, in my head. And so I always picture whoever is in hurt as happy or alive and well. And if they so the roadkill, I would picture them happy, a happy deer bouncing in the forest as a way of a homage to say goodbye to them, a way of saying goodbye. And so I personally hold true to that, and I've done it for my whole life. When I pass an accident, I say I don't necessarily pray to God, but I wish them the well and hope that that nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
So the whole way, like if you're stuck in traffic for a half an hour, you can't even see the accident, right? And you're just crouching up. The whole time I'm thinking to myself, man, I hope nobody's hurt. Like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Right.
It's inconveniencing me, but this is really terrible. And then I get to the accident and I find out that a cop just pulled somebody over in rush hour.
And everyone's rubbernecking?
One of two lanes. And I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Is that a major
Well,
accident?
what's worse is when
That's
there's basically
Major
nothing
accidentally
there.
fucked up my day.
That's different, Brian.
That's very
That's
different. A major accident is someone is hit and probably dying.
Yeah.
And at that point, I definitely am just like, oh my gosh, I hope they're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I've been in like hours of traffic in LA. In fact, coming up on the I-5, going north from LA, there's been times when a tanker completely closed off all the lanes because it had flipped and rolled and all that, and they had crews that had to come out. I've been stuck in that traffic before. I've never ever felt like, what an asshole. How could this guy drive his truck that way to flip the tanker and then block off all this traffic? I'm thinking that is awful. I'm really sorry that guy's got to go through that. Yes, it sucks being in traffic, but I would never just hold a grudge somebody having participated in an accident because of something, like.
Yeah. I do get angry. I am susceptible to road rage when people do things like that are putting my family or other people at risk. It makes me angry when I see people on the freeway texting. And I know, I understand that that's like a thing that everybody does and they don't think it's a big deal. But in my mind, I think of somebody driving at 70 miles an hour and they look down at their phone and you see them texting on their phone, right? And they don't look up for like 1,000, 2,000, 3. 3 seconds at 70 miles an hour
A lot.
is a long
That's
time.
irresponsible.
It's and you see people on the freeway, and I think one of the coolest things that has come out with the iPhone update is the ability, it automatically drops it into your, I forget what it's called, like driving mode.
Oh yeah.
Where it's silent. It doesn't it's like a do not disturb, but then once you stop moving, it will automatically get you out of it.
That's a
I
cool
like
feature.
that, man. I don't need anybody looking down at their phone and crashing into my family and hurting us.
Of course.
I didn't realize how clueless people were until I actually started riding a motorcycle. I started riding a motorcycle in my adult life. And one of the things they tell you is to actually look at people's faces. Don't look at the cars, look at the people's faces. Like, even as you're coming to a stop sign, people will just be like looking down, and then their car will just start moving. Like they didn't even look around.
Yeah.
Like it's unbelievable. People are just so clueless. And I think the phone has really added to that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Although how many times before MP3 players was I like doing one of these, reaching for a tape on the passenger side floor?
That's true.
Reaching for one of those.
Tapes were like CDs before CDs for the.
Reaching for one of those
what are
circular
tapes?
devices that were shiny. What were they called?
Why are cars even being made with CDs anymore?
Are they?
I bought a new car. I bought a 2017 car, and it has a CD player in it. I mean,
Apocalypse. They're preparing for the apocalypse.
Could be it. I can go with that.
There ain't no Spotify when the apocalypse hits, guys.
That's
the internet's
true.
True
down.
enough.
You
True
gotta
enough.
have a
It's down.
CD or a tape
I have
player.
a CD.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make my armor out of CDs. My apocalypse armor.
And you can just whip out a CD you want to listen to? You'd be a little more defenseless, but
They called me the Music Man.
they're gonna call you shiny.
See that guy?
It would have been cooler if Neil
That's the
Kaplan
Music
said it.
Yes.
that would be really cool.
I mean, that Neil's got to be the best guy to play charades with.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
Got a gift.
Code Name Campbell said, "Hey Briar, want to run the raid with me? Haven't been able to finish the new raid layer because my roster's gone gray for weeks. Yeah, man, I'll run the raid for you, but I really only run PC now, so hopefully you're over there. Send me an invite. I bet Tefty and Watts will do it with you too.
I would
Pope
love
Bear, he doesn't play Destiny anymore, so
Yeah. He gave up.
he's moved on to the Division. 1.8 really captured his heart.
Yep.
The Division is fun, by the way.
I know.
And I've been splitting my time between a third Destiny, a third The Division, and a third Fortnite.
So that's like 45 minutes of Destiny per week?
Yeah, it's about an hour. I'd say I get about an hour a night to play of games. So every other day.
20
every
minutes.
third
Time
day.
to do your schematic.
Yeah.
I get Mondays Destiny, Tuesdays Fortnite, through Wednesdays. Yeah, that's how it works.
I really like the Division's 1.8 update.
Nice.
I hear it's
I
amazing.
really like it. It solved a lot of the problems that I had with that game. Specifically, I don't know if this happened in 1.8, but memory or enemies don't seem to be the bullet sponges they used to be. Like it used to be, you'd run across like a random dude in the street and you'd unload like 8 clips into his face.
Yeah.
Now you just do 2 clips.
Yeah, now it's took 2.
Big difference.
I don't like Fortnite though. I've tried it a couple times
Really?
now.
Really?
It's not my game. Like
Really?
if I'm gonna play a battle royale, I still prefer PUBG. Maybe it's your first love is always your strongest because I played PUBG before I played
No.
Fortnite battle royale.
I played PUBG before and I was like, I don't think it's my game. And then I played Fortnite Battle Royale. I was like, this is fun.
I love Fortnite.
I
Yeah,
like the
love Fortnite.
building
Yeah.
aspect of it, the verticality, how you can move around the map. It just, I do. Has
Different strokes
anybody
for different
played
folks, though.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
Different strokes for different folks, but
Some
yeah,
people don't
for
even
sure.
like the cartoon style of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, it's cartoony. I kind of like it more. It's less serious. I feel when I'm playing it, I feel like I don't have to take it as seriously because it's cartoony, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely
like-
want to do a GIF of us doing the Fortnite dance, though. That would be so entertaining. I just, you know,
yeah. Type of thing. Yeah, that's pretty great.
That would be the
That's great.
podcast intro.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's so like emphasized into it.
I know, man,
Yeah.
and it's like you're
I like the
getting ready
clap.
for the.
I like it when random bad guys are clapping just around you somewhere.
Yeah.
You just constantly hear the clap going off. I'm like,
They're dancing it out.
they're dancing.
Bushman says, is it me or do you feel not as attached to your weapons in Destiny 2 as you did in Destiny 1? They just don't feel as special. # bring back Drake's promise.
There's no.
Oh yeah.
The ones that feel special are exotic. And in this power fantasy, we need to be able to equip 3 weapons that feel exotic. They don't have to all be exotic, but they need to have perks that feel exotic to them. I feel like Midnight Coup is the closest thing that I've gotten so far that to me feels like, man, this weapon, I don't want to not have it on my characters right now. It just has something really great about it. And part of that is Outlaw. Outlaw is fantastic on a hand cannon. But that's one of the fundamental problems with the game's loot system. It's like the weapons that are not exotic have a lot of lack of personality. Like they're really good models, but there's just no real personality in there where you kind of feel like you've invested time with it. And then the armor has like the armor is just cosmetic for the most part. Which
Well,
is,
there's no story of where you get things either, right?
Yeah,
Which I
that's
think
part of it
is
too.
another problem.
Yep.
You're getting it at the tower instead of the point of where you got it, and so
Exactly.
the story's lost. And also to that is that in D1, you know, I would ruin people's day on Twitter by posting, you know, cool rolls, right?
Yeah.
Like you would get something and you would post it, and
Usually
everybody.
Patrick's Day. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I would always tag
Another sniper that you got.
I guaranteed I was no lifing Destiny in Destiny 1. I was playing like 4 to 6 hours a day versus a week. And so my RNGesus, you know, thing that I had in D1, that was just because I was no lifing the game.
Mm-hmm.
So random rolls are another big reason why you don't have that attachment.
You know, I don't think that's like for me. That's not the case because one of my favorite weapons was Genesis Chain, and that wasn't random. That was a drop from hard mode.
What was the hand cannon that was like the Fatebringer for? But you got it from the strike.
It was a Mago Loop, but
Mago Loop. I
Mago.
perfectly rolled a Mago Loop. I can tell you, like, I mean, that was a really cool moment for me to get it in the strike.
I never got it.
So
That's probably what
Yeah,
yours
I
so
mean, it
cool,
was a
though,
gorgeous
partially.
hand cannon in that
Yeah.
at its time.
rarity definitely made it really good, but it wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily like if Positive Outlook was extremely rare, people would want to hunt it, but I don't think Positive Outlook with Kill Clip is on the same level as Genesis Chain.
I feel
Chain,
really attached to my Minuet. Like I
Yeah.
really like that gun, and I know it's not like the perfect gun, but like it brings joy to me when I use it. And the Jack Queen King actually,
I love that hand cannon. Yeah, that's fun.
I'm really loving too.
There's nothing special about it except for the way it feels when you shoot it.
Yeah.
It just feels so good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and I love the Doctrine of Passin, and that was like one of my favorite guns to play. And
That
I
was
know
a
a
good
lot
one.
of people didn't like it. Like they didn't like the high rate of fire. You know, to me, it's a lot like the lasers that we have now, where but but in bullet form, right? And so it's the same sort of tracking mechanic versus, you know, single shot precision landing.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that gun, and to this day, I mean, I wish it was in. You know, I wish it was in Destiny 2. It's such a great kind of concept for me, but I can use the lasers and other things instead of it.
Right. I just think that the loot system needs to take some serious strides towards becoming unique. Whether it's through the Masterworks being fleshed out even further with the number of kills you get that unlock another set of mods that you can attach to them.
And making it look different as well. I feel like it actually upgrades the look as you do stuff with it, because then people could look at it and you can look at it and be like, yeah, this is something that's unique to me. So even you could even take it in a direction of like, if you have more Crucible kills than PvE
Now that there's
kills,
tracking those kills too, it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. It starts to look different. So you're like, oh, this person has a lot of kills in Crucible. This person's been using this a lot in PvE. feel like they have something there if they go crazy.
Absolutely.
With it.
They need to do not only like with perks, but they also need to make it so you can unlock ornaments for the guns as well with the number of kills that you get. So you have to get like a masterwork, positive outlook, and then you have to get, say, 5,000 kills in the Crucible with it, and you unlock a Crucible ornament for it, for that specific weapon. So then people could look at it and be like, oh, wow, that's a different looking gun. What is that? And it's like, oh, it's the positive outlook.
It's that where did you get it thing that we all want. We all want to experience seeing someone with something, and we're like, where did you get that? And we want people to be like, wow, where did you get that?
Exactly.
Really cool.
Do you remember? Do you guys ever play Call of Duty Zombies?
Yep.
There's the Pack-a-Punch machine.
Yeah.
Or you can upgrade your gun, and then you can push it back in there and get like different bullets to it, and push it back in there and get different. You can keep upgrading it for more cost. I was hoping that that forging guns through the Curse of Osiris would have been that option, that you would have earned the gun and then the first time to the forge, and that would have been the first step of a quest to upgrade the gun. And so
using the word forge there was a terrible mistake.
I know. So
Yeah.
I got the gun, and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, okay, so what's my next thing? So I was hoping that I would have to do something and then put it back into the forge, and it would spit out, a randomized improvement or something that would give me a unique gun. But yeah.
Yep.
Even if they just made those weapons random rolls, everything else was static rolls, but the forge weapons were random, and you could keep like reforging to get different rolls. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, you mean forged weapons, random rolls behind a pay wall?
No, not behind a paywall.
No, because you'd have to buy the Curse of Osiris to get it.
No, you'd have to bring that into just the regular game.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think that would be something that would be really cool. It's just bringing forged weapons into the game. You don't have to have every single gun in the game have a random roll, but having this option of forging and being like, okay, these set of guns have these set of perks that you can go for.
Yeah.
Because then they can balance that. It's not the entire sandbox.
No, you're right.
Like it was last time.
They could give it constraints, so it would make sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you guys haven't complete all the verses?
No. I've completed 2.
I haven't done any of them this week yet.
I got my Segura Ghost, which
you did?
only
Beautiful.
works on Mercury.
What is it?
Well, they got this new one over at the Eververse that gives you increased rewards from like everything you do. You should get that one.
Really?
Yeah, why don't you just go buy that one?
The Segura Ghost happens to give you 75 meters of detecting chests.
That's pretty nice.
I know.
It only works on
How
Mercury.
big is Mercury?
You need it on Mercury.
I know, you
because
do.
there's like one chest on that planet at any time.
How big? Like 75 meters is what? That's like.
I don't want to talk about how
much
big Mercury is. It makes me sad.
It's 75 meters.
Is it 75 meters wide? So you just stand in the middle and you're like, a chest.
You're like, oh my gosh.
You get to find it really quick. Also, Segura Ghost looks badass. It's a nice looking ghost.
Yeah.
It does.
It
does.
Yeah.
They should have given it the voice to Segura.
Oh, I would have
Yes.
loved that.
Can you imagine getting that? And then the
That'd be
voice
cool.
is different too.
Yep.
Yeah. That would have been
was
a
really
lot of
good.
re-recording voice lines.
I know, right? Yeah.
It
It would be interesting because even if it wasn't like a full voice setup, but that when you brought her out, she would talk to you, and then your ghost, like at least initially, and then your ghost would yell at her, "Hey, get out of here!" Or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
They
could totally do that.
The energy pulse, also, I think it's verse 8, is really good as well. It's a 450 archetype. Really fun. There's a few standouts in the forge, but a lot of the weapons suffered from the same problem that most of the loot pool has, where it's like, okay, it's just a bland perk on a gun that I don't think I'll use because I have something else that I want to use. And it's too bad because all of them look really cool.
They are.
do. They're cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
I got the scout
That
rifle.
armor, I think, looks really cool too.
Yeah.
That you get from.
The scout rifle and the hand cannon are the two that I have right now, and they're fun.
The hand cannon is great. There's 2 hand cannons. The Jack Queen King, and there's the newer one that's the 180 rate of fire.
Yeah, I think that's verse 7. I did not like it at all.
Yeah, the Jack King Queen.
Some people are digging those 180 rate of fires. It's 5-shot kills.
Covers
in the
your
Crucible.
aim.
It does cover your aim. Yeah.
Yeah. They shoot very differently. It's not just their rate of fire. It's they have a very unique feel to them.
Yeah. So weird.
I heard Sir Demetrius refer to it as a scout rifle. Like if you start thinking of it like a scout rifle instead of a hand cannon,
Nice.
in the way that it fires, because if you're not planning your shots because of the crossover, right, of the gun, then you have more success with it. But still not quite a scout and not quite a hand cannon.
Yeah, it's not going to replace my Midnight Coup.
You and that, you just marry it, Sappy.
You know what?
Does memes
Maybe
know?
I will. All
Does
right.
memes know about your affair
Yes,
with
she does.
Midnight Coup?
I talked about
Jesus.
it already.
I talked about it.
Is she okay
every
with
night.
this?
She's jealous
Every
because she
day.
wants it too.
Do you leave a pillow in the middle for Midnight Coup between you two?
She wants a Midnight Coup now as well.
I would
Yeah.
like a Midnight Coup.
It's a great gun. It's awesome. Outlaw, Rampage,
What's there not to
150
like, right?
archetype. It's good.
Speaking, this is actually a perfect question for the situation. Seth Stinson says, if you can get a hall pass for one night, who would it be with and why? I assume
The
that
Midnight
Tefty
Coup.
would go with the Midnight Coup.
Because it's sexy as hell.
What's a hall pass, Brian?
Hall pass, like you have an agreement that if you happen to be able to have sex with this one person, your significant other would be okay with it. It's a hall pass to get out of jail free card because it's with this one person. I would pick Steve from Stranger Things because he's dreamy, and actually Mrs. Briar Rabbit actually approves of this, so I don't even need the hall pass.
As long as she watches. Yeah, no. You know what? To be honest with you, if I had a night alone with no kids,
He's just gonna.
You're going to sleep.
I'm gonna take a nap, and I want nobody else but my wife.
Natsuki
Sorry.
from Doki Doki Literature Club.
I gotta play that game. Everybody's talking about that game.
Everybody's talking about Doki Doki. My goodness.
It's amazing. You should all play it. Patrick's going to play it on Christmas Day. That's going to be a good time.
Tefty, you're putting some real thought into this.
Oh, my
Midnight
answer is
Coup.
Midnight Coup.
Oh,
He's
okay.
been
Never mind. You're
Midnight
thinking about
Coup.
something
Yeah,
else.
no, he was done. He had that one.
I
That
have
was a no.
3,000 kills already marked with my masterwork Midnight Coup.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Topher says, if you had one piece of coal, whom would you give it to on Christmas? Asher, Rahul, or Tess?
Tess.
Oh my god, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Rahul or Asher at least makes me laugh in the way a nerd rages, like when he gets excited and you kill the guy who took his arm. You know, he's so excited about. He's like, you exacted revenge. No, I mean, Tess, man, Tess, every day, any day.
I feel like it might be kind of entertaining to give it to Asher, though, just to see his reaction. He'll call me some really nice names, I'm sure.
You'd probably be like, thank you, and go use it for some
But
science.
you're probably
make a
right.
He'd
diamond
look at it
out
and
of
just
it.
be like, irrelevant, and then walk away.
Let's see here. 2 more questions, then we're done. Andrew says, would you rather be in a bathroom stall next to Patrick talking about magic, Briar's dog, or Pope?
Patrick, 100%.
Is he just talking about magic to himself?
I'm assuming so. Like he's having a long
Probably.
dialogue
He's just
with
like,
himself.
he's thinking out
Talking
his
about
deck. He's like, oh,
Yeah,
man.
he's going
Like-
through the deck, saying, "Oh, what I'm going to lead with, all the, how he's stacking it, blah blah blah." Maybe
This deck is
value the
powerful
deck.
enough. How do I make this deck more
You know what?
powerful? This deck is so small. All kinds
I
of
think
stuff.
I would go with Patrick because during the conversation, he's going to say, oh, I got this card that's $1,000. And then I can rob him when he gets out.
Oh, nice financial gains.
There you go. Yeah.
I would definitely have answer that question sitting next to myself because it would be freaking dope to have 2 of me, and I would finally get some sleep at night.
I'm going with my dog. It already happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want your dog in the bathroom next to me.
My dog just walks right in, man. No cares.
My cats actually get excited when you go to the bathroom. They're like, oh, we're going to go hang out for a little bit. Cool. I was like,
Hey, what you doing?
yeah. What's up? Doing good.
The Mohegan 9 says, you're going camping for 5 days. Do you poop while camping or wait until you get back home?
Poop while
What, for
camping.
5 days?
5 days.
5 days.
What
Who
the?
waits? Who
That's
can wait that long?
unhealthy.
That's, yeah. Yeah, no.
Besides it, I think it's freeing to be, in the forest and drop trow and just.
I don't want to take a dump in the dirt.
No, as long as I have baby wipes, I'm game.
Okay, if we're going camping, it's at a campground, which should have serviceable bathrooms.
Now,
yes,
even when they do have serviceable, I'm the guy.
Yes, that's
who poops
camping. Come
outside of the serviceable toilet.
And this is why I would poop next to Patrick.
All right, that's it. That's all the sort of questions. There were more, but man, it's just so salty this week.
Yeah, and I guess I really hope that we come back from the holiday break in January and we hear a different direction.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I already suffer from depression. I don't need you guys making me sad.
Look, we had a great beginning of the show with Neil Kaplan making us all laugh.
Neil Kaplan
that
was
guy's
amazing.
great, man.
Had a little segue there where we all got pissed off at the Eververse.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun to end the show just on the funny stuff.
that's good. I think that I knew he was talented. I didn't think he was going to be that entertaining. I would love to go out and grab a beer with him one of these
Right?
days. Yeah, go out bowling.
With voice actors, you never know. Like, do you ask them to do voices? Is that
and I
rude?
didn't.
And he just did it.
Yeah,
and it was
so-
amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I did not ask him. I was really excited. I've been reaching out to him for I don't know, since Destiny 2 was announced with Gall, and it just worked out that I could get a hold of him. And we have some couple other guests that I'm really excited about coming up that I haven't announced yet that are similar guys like him that are really creative people that are what make us fall in love with these games.
Hopefully they all stream from their bathroom.
That made it special,
Win-win.
man.
Can we
I
just
don't know.
make it? Can we just make it a thing that all guests must be in
It's
bathroom?
in the document. Record,
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
be in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
The
only about
acoustics are-
1,000 people who got to see Neil Kaplan's bathroom tonight.
There you go.
Yep.
I
Consider
want to know
yourself
where he got
one
that piece
those
of
lucky
art
few.
above the. There's a little.
Yeah, that was
piece
come
of-
out. It was like a 3D
Yeah.
type of thing.
I
Yeah.
liked it.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yep.
Is
All
that
right.
it? Do I
Are we
sign
done?
off since
You're in charge, man.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for watching and listening, guys. That has been episode number 64 of the Destiny Community Podcast. Once again, Patrick was out sick tonight because he had a major Magic the Gathering tourney that he had to, be a part
In
of.
his dreams.
In his dreams.
Fine.
If you want to talk to me, you can find me at Teft on Twitter. The old Twitterverse right there at Teft. You can also catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft for daily streams. And I have a YouTube channel as well, Tefty Teft.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me streaming daily over on my Twitch channel. Just look up Briar Rabbit. You can find me pissing people off on my YouTube channel. Again, Briar Rabbit. I also do another podcast called Revolver Live. If you guys want to stream or watch that, we do that every Sunday night. Or you can talk to me over on Twitter. Just look for @TheBriarRabbit.
And I'm Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube at Miss 5000 Watts.
And this has been Pope Bear. You can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear. Don't forget to follow the podcast at DestinyComPod. And if you're listening to this on iTunes or any of your streaming services, please make sure to rate. It helps us out tremendously. Next week, we are going to be coming back with Fran from IGN. Really excited to have him on. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we have a really great month of January to kick it off. Excited to announce our guest.
Before, or was that on the old podcast?
He's been on before. He's been on a few
was this
times.
podcast?
Yeah, and so just as I announced Fran coming on, or on Twitter, or I think on the last podcast, I got a message from Destin. It was like, "Yeah, and I've never been on your show." So we're gonna have Destin on in the future too.
Awesome.
So I put him like I said, but Fran, right? So Destin's
that'll
gonna
be
be on as well.
that'll be the last episode of 2017.
Yeah,
For us.
And this is the last episode before Christmas.
I
Oh,
know.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays
Happy
to you guys.
Hanukkah,
Are you going to be
May your
family?
loot boxes be filled with bright dust.
Oh my gosh! Stop. Anybody, Tefty? You guys, family?
got
What are
family
you
in
doing for the
Sacramento.
holidays?
We got we're doing something on Christmas Eve, but I think Christmas Day I'll probably be at home doing a Christmas Day stream.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with memes.
I'm going to be flying to Florida, checking out the mangrove swamps down in the Keys, going lobster hunting and
Catfish hunting.
deep sea fishing. Catfish?
I don't know.
The
I
Keys,
just
man.
assumed
It's,
you're gonna,
catfish are freshwater.
Oh, there's,
Keys is in
there's
the-
catfish hunting down in Florida, right? Got to be the swamps.
I think
Saltwater
The
swamps.
Florida Keys are the place where I've met the most UFO believers in my entire life. It seems to attract UFO believers down there.
Huh.
Weird.
Interesting.
It's
Keep your
it's-
eyes on the sky.
It's great, man. I've never been down there. It got leveled during the last hurricane, and went through there. And my parents-in-law have a house there, and we're gonna go help them out.
Awesome.
Go hang out and
That's
sing
really
some
cool.
Jimmy Buffett.
Nice.
Well, I think
All right,
that's
guys.
the episode, right?
Yeah,
Hey, we didn't even record it, so
Yep.
yeah,
Thanks for
it's
watching.
really like low stress. Easy.
yeah. Thanks for watching. See, without we're so used to Patrick and his corny endings of shows. Like without him, I feel lost.
Right?
I tell you, I don't
Do we
like
just
it.
drag it on really horrifically? Just
you know,
'cause-
I'm gonna find
Pope
someone to
Patrick is
raise.
Do we
always
just keep
awesome.
rambling?
Should be
Do we
more like
just
Patrick.
rumble?
If you want to ramble,
just
yeah.